The algebraic operation on alternating quantities. While analyzing an AC circuit, often we need to perform the algebraic operations on sinusoid or phasors. For example, suppose there are two currents, I1 is equal to I1 max sin omega t and I2 is equal to I2 max sin omega t plus theta. These two currents are flowing through two parallel branches of an AC circuit, and we have to find the total current, that is I3. Do we simply add Imax1 and Imax2 to get the Imax3? No, in an AC circuit we cannot do this. So we can find the sum of I1 and I2 in following three ways. So the methods are either by using the plot of the waveforms. The second option is by using trigonometrical identities. And the third option is by using the concept of the phasor. So these are the three methods through which we can do some algebraic operation, that is, we can add I1 and I2 to get the total current. In the first option, that is the addition using the plot of the waveform, in this case it is obvious way to find the sum, but here the plot the two sinusoids and then make point by point summation of the two sine waves. For example, if we want to draw the sinusoids of two alternating currents, then the I1 will be drawn starting from origin and it will be a sinusoidal waveform. Whereas the I2 is I2 max sin omega t plus theta. That means the second current lead the first one by the angle of theta. Therefore, the waveform of the second current will be and so on. So this will be theta. Here it will be I1, waveform of the I1, and it will be the waveform of the I2. This is 0, pi, 2 pi. Now in this case we have to plot each and every points. We have to combine the two waveforms and finally we can draw the resultant value. For example, the resultant will be like this. So this will be the resultant current, that is I3. Although this method is a straightforward method, but it is quite difficult and time consuming. Suppose if there are more than two sinusoids, then it will be a very difficult and time taking job. So this method is generally avoided. Now the second method. In the second method, let's say the current I3, for the second method, the total current I3 will be the summation of I1 and I2. And here we will solve this value trigonometrically. So here the value of I1 is I1 max sine omega t, and I2 is I2 max sine omega t plus theta. If we simplify this, we can write I1 max sine omega t plus I2 max. This is sine A plus B. So the formula will be sine omega t into cos theta plus cos omega t into sine theta. Now from these parts we can take sine omega t common. So it will be I1 max plus I2 max cos theta into sine omega t plus I2 max sine theta into cos omega t. Now for simplicity we consider I1 max plus I2 max cos theta is equal to A. So it will be A sine omega t, whereas I2 max sine theta is considered as B. So it will be B cos omega t. So here A is equal to I1 max plus I2 max cos theta, whereas B is considered as I2 max sine theta. So the value of I3 is now A sine omega t plus B cos omega t. Further, it can be simplified as multiply this parameter by a square plus b square. So it will be A upon square root of a square plus b square into sine omega t plus b upon square root of a square plus b square into cos omega t. Now the value of A upon square root of a square plus b square can be considered as cos, let's say cos theta 3. So it will be A upon square root of a square plus b square is considered as cos theta 3, and B upon square root of a square plus b square can be considered as sine theta 3. That we can do by using the trigonometrical formula. So therefore the value of I3 can be written as square root of a square plus b square into sine omega t into cos theta 3 plus cos omega t into sine theta 3. So finally it can be written as I3 max sine omega t plus theta 3. So this will be the expression of the resultant current when we add I1 and I2. This will be our resultant current, where the value of I3 max is equal to square root of a square plus b square, and the value of theta 3 can be written as tan inverse b upon a. So in this way we can solve the resultant for two alternating parameters. This is a concept of trigonometrical identities. Now the third method, that is the concept of the phasor for algebraic operations. Here the currents are I1 equal to I1 max sin omega t and I2 equal to I2 max sin omega t. In this method, first of all you have to draw the phasor diagram of all the parameters. Here the I1 is I1 max sin omega t plus 0. This is the reference line. So the phasor of the I1 will be along the x-axis. The I2 is I2 max sin omega t plus theta. So it will be in the first quadrant because it is plus theta. So let's say the I2 is here. This angle is theta. In this method of algebraic operations, we have to resolve each and every phasors into two components. One should be along the horizontal line and another should be along the vertical line, that is the y-axis. So this is I2 and this angle is theta. Therefore, the horizontal part of this value will be I2 cos theta and its vertical part will be I2 sin theta. In the next step, we will add all the horizontal components and vertical components separately. So let's say the horizontal components are represented by Ix. So here it will be I1 and I2 cos theta. Remember one thing, I1 is along the x-axis, so it does not have any y components. So it is I1 plus I2 cos theta. And similarly, we will find the total y components. In this case, we have only I2 sin theta. So it will be I2 sin theta. In the next step, we will draw these two parameters, that is Ix will be along the x-axis and Iy it will be along the y-axis. Therefore, the resultant will be I, or let's say I3. So here the value of I3 will be square root of Ix square plus Iy square. And we can see that the resultant current I3 makes an angle with the reference line, that is the x-axis. Let's say it is theta 3. So the value of the theta 3 can be found out by using tan inverse Iy upon Ix. So finally, the resultant current can be written as I3 equal to I3 sin omega t plus theta 3. Remember one thing here, we consider the maximum value of the I1 and I2. So it is I1 max and it is I2 max. Therefore, in this step, what we get, we'll get the maximum value of the resultant current. That is, this I3 is the maximum value of the resultant current. So here it is written as I3. And the angle theta, the resultant current makes the angle with the reference line and its position is above the reference line. So it will be considered as a plus, positive. That's why I have written here omega t plus theta 3. For algebraic operations, we have to remember one thing, that the frequency of each and every phasors or alternating quantity should be same. And also the resultant value should have also the same frequency. So this is the criteria for algebraic operations. So in the first step, that is a step where we have to plot the waveforms, and then in the waveforms we have to join each and every points. We have to join two alternating quantities, then we will get the resultant quantity. So it is a very complicated method. In the second method, using trigonometrical concept, here we have to do some mathematical calculations and also we can find the values. It is little bit of simpler compared to the previous one, but again it will be complicated if there are two or there are more than two alternating quantities. The best option is the concept of the phasor. So here there may be any number of alternating quantity. So we will draw the phasors of each and every alternating quantity. Then we will resolve each components into horizontal and vertical components. Then we will join all the horizontal components separately and all the vertical components separately. Then we will draw the phasor of this horizontal and vertical components, and finally using parallelogram we will find the resultant value. And here we also find the phase of the resultant quantity, that is theta 3. So in this method we can easily calculate the values for any number of phasors. Let's have some examples. So in the first example, find the resultant of the following two currents. I1 is equal to 10 root 2 sin omega t and I2 is equal to 5 root 2 sin omega t minus 60 degree. So you have to find their resultant. So it is given as I1 is 10 root 2 sin omega t and I2 is 5 root 2 sin omega t minus 60 degree. So here we will use the second method, that is the trigonometrical identities. So the resultant current I will be equal to I1 plus I2, that will be 10 root 2 sin omega t plus 5 root 2 sin omega t minus 60 degree. So it can be written as 10 root 2 sin omega t plus 5 root 2 sin omega t into cos minus 60 degree plus 5 root 2 cos omega t into sin minus 60 degree. So in the next step, it will be 10 root 2 sin omega t plus 2.5 root 2 sin omega t minus 2.5 root 6 cos omega t. Here we put the values of cos minus 60 degree and sin minus 60 degree, so we'll get these values. Now if we simplify this, we will get 17.678 sin omega t minus 6.124 cos omega t. Now the square root of 17.678 square plus 6.124 square, we'll calculate this value and we will get 18.708. Therefore, the resultant current I can be written as 18.708 into sin omega t into 17.678 upon 18.708 minus cos omega t into 6.124 upon 18.708. So this can be written as 18.708 sin omega t into cos theta plus cos omega t into sin theta, where the theta is equal to the cos theta is equal to 17.678 upon 18.708 and sin theta is here minus 6.124 upon 18.708. And the value of the theta can be calculated as tan inverse minus 6.124 upon 17.678, and it will be equal to minus 19.1 degree. Therefore, the resultant current here will be 18.708 sin omega t minus 19.1 degree. So this will be our resultant value. If I explain further from the starting, we have two currents I1 and I2. Using trigonometrical identities, we will add these two currents and we will get the resultant current. So here we write the two currents. Then we simplify the currents. Here it will be sin A minus B. So that will be sin A into cos B plus cos A into sin B. In the next step, I put the value of cos minus 60 degree and sin minus 60 degree. So this value will be 2.5 root 2 and here it will be minus 2.5 root 6. In the next step, we simplify the values in converted to the decimal points. So this will be the values. Now here we find this parameter and we will get 18.708. Then according to the concept, we multiply and divide by this parameter, that is 18.708. So here 18.708, within the bracket it will be sin omega t into 17.678 upon 18.708 minus, we can take the minus sign here also, so here it will be plus, that will be also possible. So here it will be plus cos omega t into minus 6.124 upon 18.708. So this value is considered as cos theta and this value is considered as sin theta. That's why I have written here cos theta equal to 17.678 upon 18.708 and sin theta equal to minus 6.124 upon 18.708, because here it is considered as the sin theta value and here it is considered as the cos theta value. As we see that it is sin omega t into cos theta plus cos omega t into sin theta, so definitely it will be sin omega t plus theta, where the value of theta will be tan inverse minus 6.124 upon 17.678. So finally will be minus 19.1 degree. So finally the current that we have written here in this line, this current can be written in the final form, that is I equal to 18.708 sin A into cos B plus cos A into sin B, that is sin A plus B. So it will be sin A plus B, that is sin omega t plus theta, where the value of theta equal to minus 19.1 degree. So this is the value. Here 18.708 is the maximum value of the resultant current. This is the maximum value of the resultant current and this is the phase of the resultant current. Okay, now see the second example. Here the question is find the resultant of the three voltages. Here three voltages are given: V1 equal to 100 sin 500t, V2 equal to 200 sin 500t plus 45 degree, and V3 is equal to minus 50 cos 500t. So we have to find the resultant of these three voltages in the form of V equal to V max sin omega t plus minus theta. Here the omega means 500. Now in this question you can see that the V1 and V2 are in the form of sine, whereas the V3 is in the form of cosine. Remember one thing, during phasor operation all the values should be in sinusoidal form. Therefore we have to convert this cosine value to a sine value, and also there is a minus sign at the beginning. So if we convert this voltage V3 into a sine form, it will be 50 sin 500t minus 90 degree. The general form is, if we want to change the plus minus cos theta, then to a sine it will be plus minus sine theta plus minus 90 degree. That means if the sine before the cosine is plus, we have to add plus 90 degree with the theta to change to its sine value, and if there is a minus sign at the beginning of the cos theta, when we change this value will be it should not be here. If there is a minus sign before the cos theta, then when we change it to the sine value it will be minus 90 degree. That's why I have written here V3 is equal to 50 sin 500t minus 90 degree, because here there is a minus sign. So the next step is we have to draw the phasors of these three voltages. So V1 is V1 max sin omega t. So definitely it will be along the reference axis. So it will be V1. V2 is V2 max sine 500t plus 45 degree. So it will be in the first quadrant with 45 degree angle. So it is V2. And now the V3 is 50 sine 500t minus 90 degree. So it will be in the negative y-axis, because the anti-clockwise direction is considered as positive and the clockwise direction is considered as a negative. So as it is minus 90 degree, so from the reference line we have to move 90 degree in this side, clockwise direction. So this is our phasor diagram. It is V1, it is V2, and this is V3. 90 degree lagging the reference line. The next step is we have to resolve all the phasors into x and y component. So here V1 is along the x-axis, V3 is along the y-axis in the negative side. These two, V1 does not have any y component, similarly V3 does not have any x component. But here the V2 makes an angle of 45 degree with the reference line. So V2 have some x component, so it will be V2 cos 45 degree, and the y component will be V2 sin 45 degree. So now the total x component, that is Vx, can be written as V1 plus V2 cos 45 degree. Put the value of V1, take their maximum values. Here it is the V1 max, V2 max, and it is V3 max. So we'll consider the maximum value. So V1 is 100 plus V2 is 200 into cos 45 degree, that is 1 upon root 2. So after solving, we'll get 241.42 volts. This is the x component of the resultant values. Similarly, the y component is here. It is V2 sine sine 45 degree in the positive y-axis, and V3 is in the negative y-axis. Therefore, the y component can be written as V2 sine 45 degree minus V3. V2 here is 200 sine 45 1 by root 2, and V3 is 50. So after solving, we'll get 91.42 volts. So this is Vx and it is Vy. So our resultant voltage will be V equal to square root of Vx square plus Vy square, that is 241.42 square. This is the value of Vx and this is the value of Vy, plus 91.42 square. So after solving, we'll get 258.15 volt. So this will be the maximum value of the resultant voltage. Along with this, the angle of the resultant voltage, that is theta, which it makes with the reference line, theta will be equal to tan inverse Vy upon Vx. So it will be tan inverse Vy means 91.42 and Vx means 241.42. So finally the angle will get 20.74 degree. So the resultant voltage will be 258.15 sine 500t plus 20.74 degree. This is the resultant voltage of the three voltages that is given in the question. So here there are three voltages given, V1, V2 and V3. Sin omega t plus 45 degree minus cos omega t, which is changed to the sine term, so it will be sin omega t minus 90 degree. Then we draw the phasor diagram. So V1 is along the x-axis, so it will be along the x-axis. V2 is plus 45 degree, so V2 is drawn in the first quadrant, and V3 is minus 90 degree, omega t minus 90 degree, so it is drawn in the negative y-axis. Then we resolve all the components into x and y part, and then we join all the x components, so we get Vx, that is 241.42. Here it will be V1 plus V2 cos 45 degree. So this is the value. Similarly for the y component, it will be V2 sin 45 degree minus V3. So here it is V2 sin 45 degree minus V3. After solving, the value is 91.42 volts. Then the x part and the y part are drawn separately, and from here we will get the resultant voltage V. So the magnitude of the voltage will be square root of Vx square plus Vy square. After solving, the answer is 258.15 volts. And also the angle, that is theta, tan inverse y component upon x component, so it will be 20.74 degree. And finally the resultant voltage is 258.15 sin 500t plus 20.74 degree. That's all. Thank you. Here is some practice question. So in the first practice question, it is find the resultant voltage in the form of V equal to Vmax sin 314t plus theta of two voltages given by V1 is equal to 30 sin 314t plus 45 degree and V2 is equal to 60 sin 314t plus 60 degree. So basically we have to find the resultant of these two voltages. Here we can use any methods, either the trigonometrical entities or we can use the phasor concepts. It is basically preferred to be used the phasor concept, where we have to first draw the phasors of these two voltages, phasor diagram of these two voltages. Then we have to resolve by x and y component of each phasor. Then we have to add all the x components separately and all the y components separately, and finally using parallelogram formula we can find the resultant voltage, the magnitude of the resultant voltage, and also the angle, the phase angle of the resultant voltage. So try this question for your reference. Here is the answer. The resultant voltage will be 89.31 sin 314t plus 55 degree. So this is the maximum value of the resultant voltage, and this is the phase angle of the resultant voltage. In the second question, the two AC currents I1 is equal to 7 sin omega t and I2 is 10 sin omega t plus pi by 3 are fed into a common conductor. So find the equation for the resultant current and its RMS value. So in the same process, we can draw the phasor diagram of these two currents. Then we will resolve the components into x and y part. Then we will combine all the x components separately and all the y components separately. And finally, using parallelogram concept, we will find the resultant current and also the phase angle of the resultant value. The answer of this question is the resultant current expression will be 14.8 sine omega t plus 0.199 pi. As in this question, the phase angle of the current I2 is given as pi by 3. That's why here the final answer is also in terms of pi. But it can be written in terms of degree also. So 14.8 is the maximum value of the resultant current, and this is the phase angle of the resultant current. Next, the RMS value. The RMS value is here. As we know that for a sinusoidal waveform, the RMS value is maximum value upon root 2. So the answer is 10.46 ampere. So try to solve these two questions. Thank you.